Hello everybody and welcome back live then to the final race and arguably the most important tonight here at the Simraceway Sunday race of week 39. First off, hello to every single person watching at home and also hello to everyone sat at the sunny Sonoma venue today for the IndyCar race in which Dario Franchitti has taken the pole position. He'll be looking to take a 30-second career victory later on, but for today these drivers also looking to do the same. There's no Firestone Fast 6 here today though in this qualifying session, much like the real IndyCar. However, we have a 15-minute shootout with the best Simraceway drivers from all around the world. They'll all be competing to get that #1 spot, and you'll already see a bit later on how crucial it can be to get the first position. We've seen both winners today win from the pole. Now, arguably Lolin Fox's win in the Evo race was not as dominant, let's say, as the one we saw just a moment ago in the Formula 3. But what is for sure is that these drivers will be pushing these Indy cars as hard as they possibly can around the Sonoma circuit. Everyone knows how powerful they are. These beasts have pretty much changed the way we look at Sonoma Raceway. You know, the saying says to think outside the oval, but really, these drivers are going to be kind of think outside the box, I think, because right now we've seen overtaking can be a difficult task around this circuit. There's plenty of them, but the thing is that they're so limited when it comes to tarmac space. Now, you can get yourself around the car, no problem, but the next corner flows the opposite direction, meaning you're on the outside line. Or in fact, you've got a tyre wall next to you, you've got a concrete barrier there, you've got a chicane you can't get yourself straightened up for, or the back end steps out. It's a very complex circuit, which requires a lot of thought and intricacy when going into setting up a car for this event. And right now, the man who's looking to have done the finest job in the early stage of qualifying has to be Grivy. He's got himself a tenth of a second in front of IZOD at the moment. Now, that's not to say he's going to stay there by the end of it, but what is for sure is that right now that IndyCar is looking absolutely perfect when it comes to being under his control. Watching him right now, he's not ragged, he's not being rough, he's sensibly just smoothing his way around the circuit. It's almost like it's a complete simulation. It's just not even him driving. It is that smooth right now. There's very little errors that Grivy is making right now. A bit further down the field, let's take a look at some of the other drivers who are familiar faces around the Sunday race-off. Then we've got Shadow Bounty, AG06, Strogafia, and there is the man who's particularly one to watch here today. Probably the biggest underdog there has been. He's taken just about every title there is to take it in a Sunday race-off, winning countless events, countless pole positions, countless fastest laps. Asa Acola is a man at the top of his game as he comes into this event, so he really will be looking to make an impact here today, very much like Dario Franchitti. Now, he's not going to be on pole position. Well, we don't know, he's currently P7, but if he is, then we could see a similar scenario. No one quite knows how this is all going to play out just yet. It's all just a waiting game right now. There's Agvarti, the fastest man on the circuit, just retaking there from Grivy by 200ths of a second, which is barely any time at all. And you can see already now Grivy's catching Pilota Pazzo, and Pilota, who has really matured over the past few weeks or so of driving. He's been driving in a Sunday race-off for quite some time now, as he takes a little bit off course there, but we've seen him in the past race all kinds of cars, from the Evos all the way up to these brilliant 220-mile-an-hour Indy cars, and he just really does show no flawless of talent. He really does have a lot to bring to the table, and with the possibility of a big result here today, again, could be another big name to watch. We've got some of the biggest names, and most of these guys have taken victories as well. Shadow Bounty, Agvarti, Pilota Pazzo, Sean 24, all very big names when it comes to Sunday race-offs. So the current fastest time then into the final 9 minutes is a 1:13.368. Just behind Grivy at the moment is Shadow Bounty, just 100th of a second away, so almost as fast as you can blink your eye is what is separating first from second place right now, and more importantly, the inside line from the outside line. Now, I'm not one to be superstitious, but at this circuit and every race you've seen here tonight so far, the man who started second place has bogged down at the start. He's not been able to get the launch off line he needs. He can't get the outside line to work, and he normally drops down to around third or fourth position, so he's got to be quite careful, and Shadow Bounty does not want to be that guy. Grivy extends the gap to 1.7 tenths of a second now, so further progress has been made at the very forefront of this field. Asa Acola moves up to P4. Is this going to be a bigger lap for him? No, it's not. We'll see what he can do then. Let's take a ride on board with Asa. Went very wide through turn one, almost flat through there, down to 70 miles an hour. Crazy Buzzy spins in front, almost reverses into him. And I'm sure there was plenty of adrenaline flying around Asa Ricola's helmet at that stage. Heavy braking as you begin the shoot downhill. Careful of the oversteer, that back end. Very likely to step out. Asa Ricola, though, not falling victim to it as he now gets ready for the downhill left-hander. And look how tight he turned in at that speed, over 100 miles an hour upon entrance there. And this has not phased him at all. He's still going strong, still P4. Just needs 3.8 tenths to get himself on pole. Through the right-hander he goes, very tight hairpin, very lucrative overtaking spot. We'll be surprised to see any successful moves through there today. Then they go down this fantastic quick chicane complex, which catches drivers out each and every week. A race is raced here, whether it's IndyCar, whether it's a virtual event, whether it's the NASCAR, whether it's anything. A driver will make a mistake through that complex. And now in towards this very tricky hairpin into the final corner. Careful not to bounce over the chicane too much. Car nice and straightened up, and down we go then to the final straight. Let's see if it's an improvement. I think he may have been a bit... Oh, he's gone pole! So, despite Crazy Buzzy spinning in front of him, Asa still takes pole by 200ths of a second. So, well, that just shows you what that man can do. And that was a perfect lap to catch him on board, I think. So, that's played out very nicely. What can Griffey do in response? That's going to be the question. He's got himself about a minute left on his lap. Through the chicane complex he comes now, through the important last few corners in towards that chicane. Very heavy brake in there, and the engine screams for life as it decelerates so quickly down into second. 701 horsepower right underneath these drivers right now. All at their control. How hard do you want to push this car? It is like an untamed lion. Do you want to wrestle it to the ground, or do you want to get it on your side before riding off into the sunset? One's going to be quicker, but one's going to get you to the finish as Griffey retakes pole position. So it's more of a scenario of anything you can do, I can do better. And right now, that's very much proving to be the case as Asa Ricola, his nose has been put a little bit out of joint there as he's now put down to P2 on that outside line again. Shadow Bounty now goes second. Asa's third. He's coming across the line now, though. Doesn't improve. Stays P3. So we're just taking a look at the differences at the very front of the field now. So we've got 0.16 tenths of a second separating first from second, 200ths separating second from third, 200ths separating third from fourth, and when it gets to fifth and sixth, it's another race entirely. 8 thousandths of a second is what separates Strong Afiat from Piloto Pato at the moment. So a very close qualifying run here going on. We've still got ourselves approximately 4 more laps, I'd say, to go until the checkered flag flies. 5 minutes 25 seconds left on the qualifying clock until we determine who will be sat on the pole for this tremendous 85 lap race. It's something of gigantic proportions. It's going to be taking a massive physical toll on the driver and the car, and I'm sure that's going to be the case not just here in the qualifying session but in the real race here today as well. Of course, it's going to be Dario Franchitti that's going to start on the pole there in front of Scott Dixon. Will Power starts in P3, an impressive result there. Ryan Hunter-Ray in fourth with championship leader Helio Castroneves in P5, and then Charlie Campbell, who rounded out your Firestone Fast 6 for that race. Justin Wilson in seventh, and all those guys not separated by much at all, and the same goes for the Sunday race off here today. The qualifying time there, about a 1:17. These drivers, well, 77 seconds. These drivers doing about the same, more of a 72 seconds. Of course, running a different version of the IndyCar and virtual conditions. Maybe a little bit simpler. You haven't got the wind in your face. You've not got the pressure of an entire team watching on you as well. And as we take a look at who's done the most laps, it's currently been Asa Ricola. So the man who's in second right now, completing 9 laps in this 15-minute session. He's been joined there by Shadow Bounty and Anxiety. The man on the least laps, however, is currently on 5 laps. That's been set by Crazy Buzzy in P11 with a time of a 1:14.199. In terms of how important the championship's going to be this weekend as well, you've already said that it's been a great starting position for the target Chip Ganassi racing driver of Dario Franchitti. But what about the championship leader of Helio Castroneves? He needs a good result here today for the Penske Racing team. He's currently leading the championship, of course, but he's got to get himself a nice result here at Sonoma today. We'll see what he can do later on, and the man currently sitting in Dario's boots, as it were, will going to be Griffey at this stage. He's got himself a tenth of a second up on Asa Ricola. Shadow Bounty 3 tenths behind. This qualifying session is by no means set in stone. There's still plenty of action to come. We've still got ourselves 3 minutes and 14 seconds as Acer bounces out onto his 10th lap of this session. So really determined there today. He wants to get himself on pole position, and who can blame him? Obviously, 85 laps, you want to get yourself the best starting position possible. And only a tenth of a second to find. He's got no slipstream, unfortunately. And look at those brake lights as well. Strong Afia comes out the final corner, bright orange. Those brake discs being worked overly difficult there. Onto the line, still P5, no improvement unfortunately. He still finds himself 2 tenths of a second behind 4th place man Agvarti at this stage. And also another fact about this Sonoma Raceway as well, the actual real world track record goes to driver Ryan Briscoe, who did a 116.491. Now this has been beaten today with a 112.8. So obviously again, different car model and everything. But the biggest virtual record, which I'm assuming is going to be a different car, was set by Witten with a 108.743. Now I thought these drivers were scarily quick on a 112, so I would love to see that replay on the lap. Of course, you can watch that live here at Simraceway. You can see all this entire action from the live stream channel, where you can see individual hot laps. If you just go onto the leaderboards, you can, on some of them, view replays, which could be very intriguing to watch, I think. But let's take a look at what Piloto Pazzo's doing right now. Down in 10th position. We're used to seeing him a little bit higher up the order than this, but chasing Mr. Jones 83 right now, and as he tries to go to the outside line, and Jones, I think, maybe made a bit of an error there. Piloto gets slingshotted through the chicane, and there's going to be no consequence of that. There was no contact or anything, so it's just a straight run for him. So his lap should not be invalidated whatsoever, and this should still be a competitive time. He's got a 109 at the moment as he comes through the final corner, kisses the inside of that wall very gently, and he doesn't improve though, still a tenth of a second behind. Acer does improve though. 1 minute left on the clock, and Acer Acola ups the ante. 600ths of a second is what separates first from second. Griffey needs to find more. And there's not long left to find it either. He needs to get himself in a prime position right now. He's got no attacking whatsoever. He's got no cars behind him, no cars in front. It's a seemingly clear run to the line. Question is, how clear is it going to be? We'll have to try and wait and see how much he can eke out of this car right now. Down the main straight he's going to come. Can he find 600ths of a second? He'll get another lap in as well though. He can't improve, but he gets another lap. Acer Acola, I'm not sure if he will or no. He's got 15 seconds left. No, he won't. It's going to be the end of Acer's qualifying bid, I think. Yeah, it will. So, Acer Acola is now or never. He needs a big gain. He needs at least a tenth of a second to even barely secure this pole position. So he comes across the start-finish line. Does he improve and out to go? Yes, he does. He finds 1.7 tenths. He improves. Griffey, the stakes have been risen. The ball is in your court. Are you going to serve an ace? 1.7 tenths of a second he needs to find previous to the 800th. It needs to be a hell of a lap time right now. Are we going to see a late shock? Who's going to be on pole for this race? We're going to find out very shortly. Griffey looking very tidy through the chicane right there. Touches the grass just a little bit to get the extra traction. Not going to affect his lap time whatsoever though. Nice and early turn in, bumps over the curb just a bit. Watch for the back end. Get nice and close to the wall upon exit. It's judgment day now then for Griffey. Has he done it? Yes, he has. He's done it by 500ths of a second. He weaves in elation. 500ths of a second at the dying moment. Acer Acola will be devastated. Anxiety takes third. Shadow Bounty fourth. Jamie fifth. Strong Afia in P6. Piloto goes 7th after a late call. And that rounds out the qualifying session. Griffey, with a last gasp move, takes pole position. He says, bring it on. The fight is coming to Sonoma. We'll be right with you after a short warm-up. Okay, here we go then. 85 laps of the Sonoma circuit are about to unfold in front of us. We saw the biggest battle in qualifying, won in the end by Grivy. So I made that 1-0 to Grivy. Let's see if IZOD Indy can even up the playing field as he aims to try and take a victory here at one of the most prestigious races we've had in the Sunday race-off. We hope you're all enjoying the race live from your TV screens or live from the Sonoma circuit itself. It's going to be fantastic then as we get ready, and I believe there may have been a bit of an error there, so just waiting on the restart. Yeah, there we go. So that was why there was a little bit of a jump start, I believe, so the driver's getting lined up back on the grid once again. Yeah, so 13 seconds until this race gets underway then, and that's just the pressure of what these drivers are feeling right now. We've got some of the finest drivers that have entered a Simraceway event overall. They're about to do battle here today then, so now we await the red lights, the engines start to roar, and we're about to have a full race. The eyes set on the prize as we're away. The jump shot there by Gio, and that's going to be a jump through, well, drive-through penalty straight off the bat, and I'm thinking, wow, it's going to be a restart, I think, again. And I think the drivers just got to calm down a little bit. Yeah, they do. So, okay, third time lucky, as the saying goes. And I think they've just got to try and keep their nerves on. Unfortunately, in the real Indy race, there will be no second chances. They need to be so careful. It's going to be so unfortunate for the guys at the front as well who get away cleanly. Now, remember what I said before. The guys on the outside tend to have a little bit of a weaker getaway. That is the man who's qualified second strongest, IZOD Indy. He wants to take the lead then. Now we have 4 red lights, so we're going to get a race. Yes, we do. A safe start by everyone now. And already look at Bounty. Jamie goes through the middle and jumps up to third as they fly. They're like Scale Extrix cars going into turns 1 and 2. Oh, we got 3 cars off in the back with carnage in turn 1. Jamie's off, Severio's off, Mr. Jones is off. Redline Racer also suffering there. The rest of the field away cleanly. Jones retires after the first corner. The rest of the field desperately trying to navigate their way through. Agvarti went a little wide there. Strogapia able to barely keep with him, and already the field has separated out quite a bit. And now they've got to start being a bit wary of their surroundings and the other drivers around them. We know how difficult this race can be. We know how difficult this circuit can be. And at the very back of the field, Mr. Jones out. Redline Racer already 16 seconds back on Grivy. But the good thing about this race is it is 85 laps. We've got a long way to go. The Shadow Bounty looks to try and put a move there on Jamie 1. He can't, unfortunately, get anything to go through there. As they go through this far chicane, he's going to be very careful there. And him and Jamie are side by side then, and this is not the most ideal spot in the world. Jamie unfortunately surrenders a position, and Shadow Bounty is able to keep on for now. Let's watch and see where Gio goes. He does have a penalty to serve. Stays out for now, and a very wide crazy buzzy allows Pilota through, and Pilota up to P6 after lap number 1. So after lap 1, Grivy leads IZOD Indy by 1.2 seconds. Agvarti sits in third, Sean 24 sits in P4, so a very jumbled up top 5 compared to what we saw before with Strogapia rounding out such a top 5. We've got Pilota Pazzo sat just behind these guys in P6 at the moment, so not a lot of competition as drivers try and settle down. They don't want to risk anything too much. It's not about where you start, it's about where you finish, and they really do have to be quite careful right now. I think everyone's very much aware of what is at stake for everyone right now. I think it's got to be a very difficult event for the likes of IZOD Indy and Grivy to do. Grivy leading the charge at this stage. Agvarti in third, Sean in fourth. A bit further down the field, big lock up there by Crazy Buzzy. His race has not gone very well at all since the start, and the checkered flag was waved. The green flag got us underway. The checkered flag will be out in a few hours time, I should say. It's about 83 laps to go. As they'll power through the final few corners again. It's not that much of a gap at the moment. 1.1 to IZOD Indy, 2.9 to Agvarti. Grivy, though, safely in front of this stage. It's going to be a long, enduring task for him. IZOD still hot in his sights, so now we're seeing a little bit of impact now. There's traffic up in front. The traffic, of course, is going to belong to the car of Jamie number 1, and you want to try and watch his mirror now, because he's going to very rapidly have the entire field overtake him on just his, well, it's his second lap after his stop and go, I believe. And already you can see the effect that that's having. Jamie is nowhere near as quick through the corners as Grivy or Acer Acolla. You want to get out of the way pretty sharpish as well. There's nothing worse than being held up, especially if you're in a position like Grivy, who's desperately trying to get himself to the front of the field and, more importantly, try and break away from Acer Acolla, because Acer's only 1.2 seconds away on this third lap. And look at Strogathia now catching Sean 24. This is for the battle of 4th position right now. Strogathia looking to try and get himself through. He's, again, a very characteristic man. We've seen him in the past bring a lot to the table. Sorry, talent from when he first entered the Sunday race-offs up until now, and he really has done a fantastic job so far. The man he races with a G25, his real-life experience belonging to go-karts, and his length of membership from around 2012 last year, so quite an experienced racer here today. And ironically enough as well, you can see that his greatest memorable race was a three-way battle. And I'm sure he's going to experience that one today here at Sonoma. Currently though, the gap between Grivy and Acer Acolla has stabilised at 1.2 seconds. Now we're not too sure if that's going to rise up or fall. Severio's retired, so a second retirement within the first 4 laps, and the field is shrinking. The top 5 still getting closer together though. 1, 2, and I believe that's 2 lap cars in fact they're making up what looks to be a quite memorable train, and look how close Acer's getting already. Anyone who's familiar with the Sunday race-off will be familiar with just how much Acer Acolla can get out of the car. It's phenomenal. We've seen it at Silverstone though. The man is not immortal. He can make errors and he can finish way down the order. He is not an alien. And I'm sure we're going to see a few of them here today. It's such a grueling event. You don't want to be pushing yourself overboard at the very start. And Acer Acolla kind of bumping grinds over the curve there as he trying to catch Grivy. It's 1.1 now, 1.1 flat actually. The gap has come down even more. Grivy coming under a lot of pressure from Acer Acolla. Sean 24 also with us today from the Czech Republic, and he's currently racing in P3 at the moment. And you've just got to wonder how much he can bring to the table though. Sean 24 is, as we say, one of the most established racers here. He's been in countless events. But as the field draw closer together, Piloto Pato and Anxiety are getting slowly but surely closer together. Now look at Strogathia attacking Piloto Pato. This could be the first real battle we've seen into the final corner. Strogathia's not going to go for a move through there. I think it'd be quite silly to, really. Needs to be a lot closer than that. That is the taunting of the final corner. As they make their way through turns 1 and 2 again, Piloto not making any errors in the early stage of the race. We're only on lap 6 out of the 85 here, but he's made his intentions, as we say, very clear. Oh, and Hobbs giving bump there just as we say that. And I think that was a bit of a commentator's curse there. Sorry, Piloto Pato, as Strogathia navigates his way through at ease. In fact, there was no damage at all. And now into the pits comes Redline Racer. Let's take a look at what happens here then. This is from 11th place. I don't think he was in a really competitive position actually. He's coming down the main straight, and there you can see the leaders approaching. You'll be able to hear the echoes of those supercharged Indy cars very soon. I mean, they really are astonishing to listen to. 700 horsepower, as we say, 0 to 16, just 2 seconds. And Grivy crosses the line, 1.3 seconds up on Acer Acolla. He's found himself 0.2 of a second on lap number 7, as we say, still early days just yet. But we're not too sure how this is going to play out. Acer, the man who just doesn't really need to do a lot when it comes to applying pressure. He's just going to show his sheer presence. Sit behind your opponent for about half an hour, and you've pretty much got them going. Then you've got them running scared. You've got to be careful if you're Grivy. Grivy, though, of course, accustomed to Acer Acolla's driving style. These guys are no stranger to one another. They've raced here many times before, been in many battles. And we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. And taking a look back at the Strogafia battle right now, well, I say battle, Strogafia is completely blitzed the remaining drivers. Polotopazzo down to P10, so he must have made an error at some point along the road. Unfortunate that for Polotopazzo. He was looking very strong earlier on, the Italian. And now take a look at how this is warming up as well. It's Xvarty getting himself past Jamie 1, who's, well, at least a few laps down by now as they start lap number 8 out of the 85. So we're almost a tenth of the way through this race right now, and coming towards the end of it, 0.8 seconds is the gap now between Griffey and Asa Acola. Those guys are getting much closer together than we anticipated. Is it Griffey making tiny errors as he's succumbing to the pressure, or is Asa Acola? Look how much closer he was through that hairpin. Asa was lightning down there. I didn't even think he braked until he just flew. Asa Acola is on a mission right now to try and catch Griffey. Let's see what the timing is when they come towards the end. Yes, gone back up to a second, so I'm guessing he's out-braked himself and that wasn't intentional. I did think he entered that a little bit too quickly for my liking. And now they really do got to be quite cautious. Now they've pulled away 11 seconds back to Sean 24. Xvarty is not too far away from him. These guys keeping each other very close company in the battle for the final podium spot. But when you look a bit further back down the field, the majority of the drivers have fallen away big time. We've got AGO6, who's already 38 seconds behind Griffey right now. So the main battle that everyone's concerned with is going to be this battle, Griffey and Asa Acola. Now if this trend continues, and the winner is the pole sitter, then Griffey will very well be the winner here at the end of the day. And if that continues into the real IndyCar, it's going to be a very happy day for Scotsman Dario Franchitti. However, are we going to see an underdog? Are we going to see the potential different result? We don't know what's going to happen here. We know is that Asa Acola's looking fairly strong. He's keeping him in close check. And we also know that perhaps towards the end of this session right now, when it comes towards the end, you look at qualifying, I don't think this is going to be the most ideal thing. Is it going to be Scott Dixon instead of Asa Acola perhaps? So those guys are going to be somewhat counterparts in some way. Just 0.9 seconds separating the two leaders at the moment. And just keeping you guys who are at Sonoma updated on what's happened in the final practice. It was Scott Dixon who was fastest in the car number 9 with Ryan Hunter-Ray in second. Marco Andretti, big performance there, P3. Kanan fourth. Dario Franchitti, our pole sitter, in P5 in car number 10. Will Power in 6th place with Charlie Kimball in P7. Sebastian Bourdais, a much better pace-looking car there compared to what we saw in his qualifying session with EJ Vizo rounding out your top 8. And Ryan Briscoe all the way down in P10, so he needs to get himself on a charge later on. But back to this race then, still nothing changed at the front of the field as we're 10 laps in. 0.8 seconds separate Xvarty, well, Asa Acola and Griffey. Talking of Xvarty though, he's not separated by that much at all. He's only 0.4 seconds now away from Sean 24. And let's keep an eye on this battle actually. I think Xvarty's getting dangerously close now to Sean 24. Those guys have, as you say, been battling long and hard. And I remember the first day I saw Xvarty race, I sound like an old man now. Back in the old days where Xvarty first came into this Sunday race-off type of competition. And he really did make a name for himself in those BMW E3s, I think. And it was just phenomenal to watch. I've never seen a man look that aggressive, that reared up, that fired to get out and make an impression, make a statement on the rest of the field that, look, this is what I can do. And this is what Xvarty's done now. He's 0.7 behind Sean 24, 0.9 as they cross the line. Let's see if he can get himself a podium. The gap at the front of the field again extended back to a second, so it's fluctuating back and forth, back and forth. It's a tug of war at the very forefront of the field. So 1.1 at the moment, and Asa Acola needs to maybe start trying to find something a little bit more as this session wears on. But he's still got himself over 74 laps of racing to go, so he's in by no means any, hurry. He doesn't have to try and up his game and get the move done now. He's got plenty of time to perhaps think about a manoeuvre before endeavouring to do it. And the thing is with Sonoma, you need a lot of planning. We've said this before as well, that it is a circuit which requires the utmost of thought before even thinking about putting a car on the tarmac. there's so many factors to take into the account. You've got the complex of corners, you've got the elevation change, you've got the sheer just complexity of this circuit, as I just said. And more importantly, you've got the speed of this car and how the car reacts to the track conditions in itself. It all makes for a very entertaining race, but it means that Asa Ricola is going to struggle to pass Griffey unless Griffey makes a mistake, which at this moment, he doesn't look that inclined to be doing. He's just setting very good times at this stage, 13 minutes into the race, and there's just been no real sign of letting up, so we'll have to wait and see what Asa Ricola's got up his sleeve. Has he got anything cheeky planned? Is he waiting for a surprise manoeuvre, or can he apply enough pressure so that Griffey falls short? Back to the battle for third place. Laxvarty is actually past Sean 24 now, so he's missed that one. Laxvarty sails into third place. Now let's see what he can do when it comes to catching our two race leaders. I think we'll give you a little lap time update towards the end of this as well to let you know who's pacing at where. Into the final few corners go Griffey, and Sean received a penalty. Now what has that been for? Has there been an incident? He hasn't made contact with Laxvarty. Strogafi is not far away. I'm guessing it's corner cutting. Yeah, it's been revoked. So Griffey's about to come across the start-finish line. Then let's compare lap time between the top five. So Griffey says a time of a 1:13.1, a 1:13.10 for Asa Ricola, so 700ths quicker that time round. So remember, a 1:13 is where you need to be, preferably a 1:13.1 or 1:13.0 to be in with a shout of getting yourself forward. What can Laxvarty do? He does a 1:13.4. Sean only manages a 1:16 after his error. Strogafi a 1:13.9. Let's see what can Bandito do then. He's P6 at the moment. So running quite strong, it's got to be said. He's right in the heart of the field. A 1:14.6. So obviously the times decline the further you go down the field, as the common trend should suggest. But again, Asa Ricola looking closer and closer as time goes on. You've got to wonder how much has Griffey got left within him right now. He's only on lap 13. The gap back up to 1.4 though. It has not come down to below half a second. I'm very impressed, actually. I think that may change, in fact. A little bit of a wobble there by Griffey, and he got onto the rough stuff, he got onto the green, and I think that's going to allow Asa Ricola to creep up those backstairs and really start applying what I like to call body punches in. Imagine if this were a boxing fight as such, and you want to wear your opponent down, you want to apply those body punches, get him time after time after time. Same corner, go for a move, but maybe duck out at the end. Open up to the outside, swing back in, let him know you're there. Let him know you're thinking about a move, and just get in his mind game. Then just when your opponent's least expecting it, you go for the knockout punch, you go for that overtaking manoeuvre when he's gone wide, and that is when you capitalise. It's all about being the ultimate opportunist here at Sonoma, and something which Asa Ricola is very well renowned at doing. So we'll see how we can compare with his tremendous track record a bit later on. But for now, the gap still remains at 1.006 seconds as we come towards the end of lap number 14. And a bit wide there by Asa, something we're not used to seeing. Again, though, this is no alien. Asa Ricola can make mistakes like a normal human being. He's not an alien. But keep an eye on what Sean and Strogafi are doing. That is for P4 now. So Sean really can't keep himself out of the spotlight today, can he? He's currently 4th position at the moment. He's got himself a lot of attention. Sean gets a little bit wonky coming out of the final turn. I don't think that's going to lose him too much time whatsoever. But as they head back up towards turn 1 again, now Strogafi needs to get some sort of a better run. He's only 0.5 seconds away. Asa Ricola 1.182 seconds back. And now you've really got to wonder again ahead, but he makes so much time on entrance, and look how much he loses on the exit, and that's going to come into shot when they cross the second sector line. But every time he goes through the hairpin, he just loses such huge amounts of time. 1.4, 3/10 of a second. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in racing perspective, it is a huge amount to be losing at just one corner. I think he's going to be taking notes. Let's see what the lap is this time round then for Griffey. He'll cross the line. It's a 1:12.7, a humongous lap there. 5/10 quicker than Asa Recola, a 1:12.7. Wow. What can Anxiety do from here then? He's coming in around the final corner now, down the main straight again. I don't think this is going to be anywhere near as good now. 1:13.3. In fact, it wasn't that far off Asa Recola. But Grivy is on another playing field right now. 1.6 seconds in front. And the gap continuing to stabilise. Went down to 1.4 there. Crazy Buzzy sensibly moves out of the way, and you can't blame him at all for that one. That was a very sensible choice to make. And now look at that as well. Griffey a little bit of a bump over there. Asa Recola though is losing ground. He's again still 1.5 away. Couldn't gain anything that time. And then that time round, oh, Asa Recola responds a 1:12.8 to a 1:13.1. A much better performance there by Asa. He's responding. He's got the time back. Take a look at Anxiety as well. He's trying to get in past Shadow Bounty at the moment. Here he is, a lap down, of course. Strogafia and Sean 24 still locked in a war that is seeming like no one's going to win at the moment. It could be a war that wages on for some time. Still half a second at this stage. And now as we approach lap number 18, let's take a look at what kind of pace Griffey's going to have at the moment. I think the gap has actually come down a little bit again now, unfortunately, for Asa Recola. He's not been able to get the run he needs. But a big look up there from Griffey, and that's going to leave a mark on the tarmac. And, well, I'm sure the track marshals will be able to iron it out with their magical equipment. But 1.5 again, a 1:12.8 consistency there for Asa, a 1:12.6. From Griffey though, consistently faster. He's had one blip so far, but that gap is starting to rise, and there's not much Asa Recola can do about it. Lap 17, Sean 24 still leading the Strogafia battle. Bandito 6th, Pilota 7th, Crazy Buzzy in 8th place in front of Shadow Bounty. JMU 1 in P10, AGO 6 sits in 11th place at the moment, with Redline Racer 12th and Severio in 13th place, with our only retirement of the day being Mr. Jones 83. So a massive well done to everyone who's competing at the moment so far. Very low attrition rate here in the first quarter of the race or so. We're approaching the 20th lap now, and unfortunately Mr. Jones couldn't make it towards the end of lap number 1. He encountered too much damage to his car. It was an almighty shunt at the start. We had a very troubled opening to the race. We had a couple of restarts due to it just not being safe and not ideal at all, but we got it all sorted out, and unfortunately Mr. Jones just couldn't get it sorted in the end, and found himself back in the paddock watching this race from his garage. The show must go on, as the saying goes. Right now Griffey really trying to make a statement about that, that's for sure, as he again sets another good lap time that time round. This time 1.6 seconds in front of Asa Recola, so still got a long way to go. Asa Recola's got the pit light lit. Now that is very, very enlightening, I think. Let's try and wait and see. Is Asa Recola lighter or heavier on fuel? So Asa Recola may be expected to stop first here. Crazy Buzzy's out. Crazy Buzzy, I've just spoke too soon again, haven't I? But look at Strogafia right now. He's trying to chase Sean 24 again. Now, we've been watching this battle develop for some time. Separated now by just 0.4 seconds. And as they go through the hairpin, and look, that is not what Strogafia needs. Some lap traffic right behind. Not so much holding them up, but he's definitely not aiding or helping their progress in the slightest. And look at that, Strogafia selected to pit. Let's take a look away. Yeah, Ace is in. Ace is the first man in. Grivy stays out. This needs to be key for Grivy. He does not need an error. He needs a perfect lap now. So Ace Recola's in. Let's just watch his stop and see where he feeds out. He needs to get himself in some clean air. The last thing he wants is to come out in traffic, fight for position, and end up losing time. He's currently P5. Oh, and he might be alright. He's got Shadow Bounty who's a lap down. But oh no, that's not worked out at all. He'll be behind the Strogafia and Sean battle. If Strogafia does not pit this lap, this could really turn the race upside down. And look at Strogafia, who wants to get past. He's feeling like it's his time. Let's see if it is so. Sean 24 has been making arguably a lot more mistakes recently. He's trying to go around the outside. Strogafia is an audacious attempt. And audacious that it was. Nothing really much else he could do there, unfortunately. However, we'll see if he pits in this lap or no. Does he dive to the pit lane? We'll find out in a couple of corners as another car makes his way down the pit lane. It's not Grivy. Grivy stays out for a second lap. Ace Recola still not in traffic at the moment then. That's a very good sign for him. Lap 21 off the 85, and it's got to be said, Grivy's had the much better stint out of anybody in this race. So Grivy now has 33 seconds back to Ace Recola, who's still in clean air. Not what Grivy needs. Grivy would have loved him to come out in traffic, but you've seen it in the past here. It's not everything. Strogafia again attacking Sean. He didn't pit last time round, and look how close he's getting now. Sean 24 is on the defensive drive of a lifetime. It's got to be said. He's got to be very wary now. He knows what Strogafia is capable of. He's tried an outside pass, and that's something you don't really see here at Sonoma. A very tricky thing to accomplish. And Sean 24's in. Strogafia stays out as Strogafia played it too late. He'll try and get the cut back and get the leapfrog on his opponent. Let's see what Grivy can do then. He's still not pitted in. He starts another lap, lap number 22 in fact. And of course, a very interesting fact here about the Sonoma Raceway as well is that I mentioned earlier on about the track record being set by Ryan Briscoe. It was Ryan Briscoe as well who won the race last year for Team Penske behind, well, in front of his teammate Will Power, who was also driving for the team at the time. And now they've got to be quite careful because going into this race, Briscoe is not starting in the strongest of positions. It's Dario, the man who finished in third place last year, who starts on the pole, so definitely on tip for another podium. Grivy illuminates the pit button then, so we'll quickly touch back on IndyCar a little bit later on and just about what happened last time round and some of the winners here in the past. But as we look at Grivy, come towards the end of his lap, he's currently 34 seconds, so he's still gaining time on Ace Recola despite his current scenario, which is a very impressive thing to accomplish again. Grivy through the hairpin, very nicely played there. Let's see what he can do then. We're almost 24 laps into this race as Grivy's going to surely bring his car into the pit lane. Yes, he does. Right, this is going to be key. Where does Ace Recola feed out in relation? Ace at 35. Oh, and that's not worked at all. He's right behind his bowers. Look at that. Strogafia trying to get past Redline. Now, luckily, Redline moves out of the way. Sean 24 having pitted in. Acer is, well, he's not in the finest of moments right now, is he? He's right behind Strogafia. But, oh, and look at that. Grivy's on. Oh, he's lost big time. Grimmy comes to the end of his pit lane. One of the downsides to this circuit for the drivers is how long the pit lane is. Grimmy gets there now. Where is Asa Recola? The answer to the final turn. He will pass Strogafia. This is going to be so close. Grimmy has not even moved yet. He's on his way out now. His car in front. He's done it. He's held the lead. And he's gained time as well. Asa Recola cannot get close. The gap remains almost identical to what it was before, but now look who's joined them. Anxiety is barely any time away, just a matter of seconds. As Anxiety pulls into the pit lane, those tyres having been quite worn, I'd say, to say the least. Strogafia also in. Bandito P6. But Grivy, 1.5 again. It's literally the exact same time as it was when they came into the pit lane. As you just try and keep an eye on what Ace is doing. He's got the gap down by another 10th, but been fluctuating like this the entire race. We're on lap 24 out of the 85 here. And now you've really got to start wondering the integrity of Asa Recola. How much more can he push out of that car? It's still the first quarter of the race, but there's a long way to go. And he ideally needs to get something going on now. He needs to get himself back to the top of that field. .1 seconds to gap at this stage. Sean 24, P3 Anxiety still holding strong in fourth. But look at that, Sean and Anxiety have got closer together. Strogafia's dropped back by quite some time to that battle. The battle now is between Anxiety and Sean over third position since Strogafia's almost departure. And look at this as well, Anxiety pulls into the hairpin, Sean again a much wider line. But he does that, but somehow comes out with a much higher top speed. Let's see what it is then. Let's go going towards the chicane, see who hits the biggest top speed. So 170 to a 1, yeah, Sean 24 definitely got the better of it. But the gaps come down at the front, 0.8 seconds, that is the closest it has been for quite some time. Say quite some time. He's probably been in the closest spin all race. And look at that, Grivy locks up again. And Asa Recola again into the same hairpin. Still goes wide. He's suffered this fate for quite some time now. And Asa Recola getting very close to the walls. Let's give you a quick rundown of the order then. On lap 27 out of 85, it's Grimmy who leads, Asa Recola second, Sean in third, Anxiety fourth, Strogafia fifth, Bandito in sixth, Pilota seventh, eighth place Shadow Bounty, ninth Redline, and 10th place is Jamie 1 with 11th Crazy Buzzy. 12th Agio 6, 13th Severio. And our one retirement still is Mr. Jones 83. Now Redline Racer has got himself a penalty. Or in fact, he's got two. So I'm not sure if one's going to be revoked or something. But yeah, one has. So he's got a drive-through. So he's not too happy at all. And I think, let's just try and get a view on what's happening at the moment from about in the midfield. As you take a look at what Strogafia is doing and everyone like that, he's Oh, we got Bandita receiving a penalty there. Pilota Pazzo still yet to make a pit stop. We found that the red line racer keeps ignoring blue flags. That's going to be the issue there. Pilota has to make a pit stop still. He's got himself in P6 after, unfortunately, what was a bad start, but he's got to get himself in the pit lane. Is he now? No? Okay. Advantage Sean 24 though, that battle's getting back underway once again. We're approaching lap number 30 of the 85 here. And as we come towards the final corner again, look how much closer he gets compared to anyone else, in fact. He's just really eking it out. He's almost mirroring the battle that we saw with Griffey and Asa Riccolo, and this is what makes this circuit so strong, as Griffey again loses a little bit of time into the hairpin. Through the chicane they go. Griffey still in control at the moment. 0.6 the gap, but it's constantly under a second. That is not what Griffey needs. It's been quite a while, as we say, since it's been that low for a consecutive amount of laps. But right now, this could be the difference. This could be the big change-up that we've all been so waiting for. And look at what can Griffey do right now. Oh, he flies over that curb, and I'm surprised he was able to hold on to that car. Phenomenal stuff. And Griffey is coming under a lot of pressure. I think this is key. He's making errors. This is why it's coming down so much, and look how close Asa gets again through that hairpin. This time doesn't come out as wide. Griffey makes a mistake. Griffey locks up. Griffey is under pressure for the third Griffey in the saying there. He really is under a lot of pressure. Exactly what I was saying with the body punches earlier on. You keep wearing someone down enough, when it gets towards the end, you can go for that ultimate opportunistic move. And with this circuit, it has to be. It is almost like a street circuit, Sonoma. It reminds me very much of Monte Carlo. And Asa Riccolo thought about it. He hesitated before he went for it, and I think that was for the best. And as Griffey tries to bring home a win, it's going to be very key, I think, right now, because you take a look at the times that they're doing, and Asa Riccolo is getting a lot more consistent as they shoot down the carousel. This track has it all, and you've got to wonder just how much can Asa Riccolo give? How much longer can Griffey hold on? Again, bumping over the curb there. Very much like a scenario we've seen here in real life IZOD IndyCar Series in the past, when we got to the 2012 event, of course. But talking about this one, we've got 6 different teams inside the top 10 in, well, as soon as this race gets underway. And Asa Riccolo's got lag issues. Asa Riccolo has an internet problem, and this could effectively hand the race to Griffey. Now, is he going to rejoin, or is this the end? Is Asa Riccolo out? He's out! Asa Riccolo, the second place man, 30 laps into the race, and he's out, which hands Griffey a gigantic lead. And just like that, this race is turned upside down. Now, was this a lag issue? Was this internet? Was it something deeper? Either way, Griffey has 41 seconds back to Axvarti right now. And you just can't even imagine what the feeling in the paddock must be like there. Despair will be echoing around. He will be so annoyed. One of the most successful sim racers of all time here at Simraceway. And unfortunately, his race has come away early. We said anything can happen. And indeed, anything has happened. He's out of the race. The fans in the chat are absolutely shocked. And now Griffey has got himself a massive battle. This means that the Axvarti and Sean 24 war will be over second place. Now let's just try and figure out, we'll try and get you an update on what's happened to IZOD Indy sooner rather than later. Plot crosses the line, so he's made again a bit more progress there. Shadow Bounty into the pit lane for him then. So that will be his second stop, I believe, this race. But still, we've got well over halfway to go, which means anything can happen. And as Grivy swings the car in again, very nice there. Grivy flying towards the top of the timesheets and what could be flying towards a victory here at Sonoma. 85 laps, and now his main competitor, who of course he duelled all the way through qualifying with, has just been dispatched of. And you do have to wonder, because Grivy was arguably the fastest man in qualifying right until the very end, and he was able to just pip it in front of IZOD Indy and now finds himself in a very enviable position. He's in the lead with 40 seconds to the nearest car. It's not a bad place to be. The only downside is, I'd say, to this right now is probably going to be when it gets to around lap 60, lap 17, Grivy's on his own. He's out there by good, 40, 50 seconds. And he starts making mistakes. He turns off his concentration and slowly those errors start to come in more frequently. You never know what's going to happen. So Grivy has pretty much pulled away this victory right now, unless there's been, or will be, a dramatic turnaround. We've got second place Anxiety, Sean in third, fourth Strogathia. The field really separating out at the moment. Nothing really too eventful happening around Sonoma. It's very much a calm, each driver to their own, and traditional IndyCar race is what you would see, only Indy fielding a much larger field. Sean right now has got himself a good 3.5 seconds back to Strogathia. 1:16.9 for him, or 1:18 for Strogathia. So unless he's heavier on fuel or something, it's not looking like it's been a strong second stint there for him. Okay, so let's try and take it on board with someone then. Who should we pick? I think, honestly, right now, it's going to be Strogathia, because he's got a nice view of Sean 24 up in front. The gap's just come down by a second, so I think Sean must have made an error somewhere. Let's take it right on board with Strogathia then and see what kind of brilliance he can bring to the table right now around Sonoma, approaching the halfway mark. What has Strogathia got left in him? He's had a very interesting race so far, as we've said. Battling for P5, next P4, he was up into second at one point. Now finds himself back in P4 once again. Yeah, and just listening to IZOD Indy's feedback there after the race, and he says that when you get to within under a second, you get a huge loss in downforce, which explains why he could never quite get close enough to make the pass, and again, which makes his track so special. And Ace has said that with the draft, it was almost like driving without a front wing, so that will definitely affect in the downforce there. And unfortunately, it was a blue screen error. Strogafia goes a bit wide there a few moments back. However, still got very close to Sean 24 through there. Vicky's lost a bit of time now. The gap is nowhere near half a second. It may be in a few moments' time, though. As they come towards the end of the lap to start lap number 36 out of 85. Now let's just try and take a little bit of an impetus to what Pilotapazzo's doing. He's got himself up into P5. As we said, he had a troublesome start and is able to get himself back into 5th position. So a great run there by the Italian. As we said, he's very much a fan favourite here around the Sunday race-off community. The guys in the chat always roaring for him to spur on and do a little bit better, push himself a bit harder. And it's great to see how much he's kind of developed over the last year or so. I've been watching him race. He's up into the top 5 now. 43 seconds off Sean, but with this amount of time left, you can't really ask for much more of a better position than this. Griffey there, making a little bit of a lock-up into the chicane. Anxiety is unfortunately a bit too far away as Griffey's lapping the man in P3, so sensational pace by Griffey right now as he comes in towards the final corners again. So the time's definitely coming down. Lap 38 out of 85 now, and Strogafia almost being lapped. There's not really much he can do there. The black flag will be waving for him right now. But by far, I think one of the greatest pinnacles of this event so far has to have been qualifying. A very, very intense session to say the least. A lot of drivers I think will be agreeing with me on that one. It came right down to the wire with Griffey just taking pole position in the end. And Griffey didn't let to pit then for a moment, so I wonder. And Thierry has requested to pit, so I believe Griffey could be in the pit lane. Yeah, Griffey pulls in. No, he doesn't. He stays out. So maybe that's lit for next lap or something. He'll go on to start lap number 39 out of the 85 here today. Strogafia is only 2.7 now in front of Sean 24. Well, 3.1 as they cross the line. So still a bit of a battle to be had there as time goes on. Pit light on there for Sean 24 as well. And I wonder how much that's going to be an impact actually as we take a look at what Griffey's doing out there at the moment. Griffey still looking fairly strong. Interesting to see how many cars pit in at the same time. I think Griffey and Sean should definitely be in within the next few laps. Griffey, and no, he says, oh, again, let's see if Sean 24 does. So, everyone except Anxiety is a lap down. That's quite an interesting stat there, actually. Not only does it show you the sheer pace of Griffey, but it shows you just how widespread this field has become as well. We're not even halfway into the race yet, and already field a lap down. It's been a triumphant, great stint there by Griffey. He got himself in front, of course, after the first pit stops. And unfortunately, the retirement of Asa O'Connor only aided his pursuit towards greatness in the front of the field. Redline Racer and Jamie getting a bit closer. Now Jamie is actually in front by a lap, I believe, in Redline Racer. And Jamie makes the pass there, no questions asked. Redline Racer moves out of the way very respectively after, I think he got a couple of penalties for unfortunately ignoring the blue flag rule, as Sean again gets that pit button lighted up. When he comes towards the end of the lap, is he going to pit in? No, he won't. No, he runs a bit onto the yellow line though. But as Griffey races on, Anxiety's also applying the pressure as well. Strogathi is not that far away. Sean is P4. Pilotta in 5th place. Shadow Bounty in 6th. Still 7th there for Jamu. 8th place for Redline. 9th place for Racer Acola. 10th place for Bandito. 11th and 12th go Crazy Buzzy and AGO Severio. 13th. And the last 4 names I read out, unfortunately, have all retired, leaving us with 9 runners left. Well, 8 runners now, including Redline Racer in this race. Jamie 7th, 6th place for Shadow at the moment, as we said. 5th place there for Pilotta. 4th for Sean 24. And if you're at Sonoma right now, welcome. If you're just joining in, it's been a very entertaining race so far. You've seen it all quite literally. A very intense qualifying session. Exciting start, which involved the odd bit of argy-bargy here and there. We saw a retirement of one of our underdogs. And unfortunately, it has meant that the field has been reduced by somewhat, but it does mean that Griffey, well, Ace Recaller's own words, is a beast, and he's leading this field, and he very deservedly deserves it. That was a bit of a tongue twister, but yeah, he finds himself at the moment 55 seconds clear of Anxiety. Redline Racer going wide there for Griffey. Again, very respectful driving there by Redline Racer. It's nice to see that he's reacting well to the blue flags. So let's quickly take a look then at what Strogathia has to offer in P3s. 24 seconds away from Anxiety, so that by no means over, but Sean 24 is slipping. Those guys were just a couple of seconds separated, not too far back there now, 9.4 seconds separated as we come towards the end of lap number 41. So still plenty of action to come here from Sonoma, well over half the race, but you've got to wonder how much can these guys push right now. There's not really a lot they can do except drive their own race and hope for the best. We've still got a few more pit stops to come in as well. But before we quickly bring you on there, let's quickly take a look at the starting grid for what's going to be the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma. Be taking place right where you're probably watching this, some of you guys right now. They're at the Sonoma, right in the heart of California. It was a 117 by Dario Franchitti. He sits next to his teammate Scott Dixon on the inside line. We've got Will Power and Ryan Hunter-Reid rounding out row 2, with championship leader Castro Nieves rounding out row 3 with Charlie Kimball. Justin Wilson and Graham Rahal on row 4. Row 5 is headed up by James English, and Pagano is right sat by him. Marco Andretti with an average qualifying session there. He sits next to the number 7 of Sebastian Bourdais. Takuma Sato sits on row 7 next to Valtier, one of the rookies there who's had such a strong season so far, scoring well over 100 points. He's even had a lap, so a great result there. We've got Vizo and Kanan rounding out row number 8. We've got Neil Gooden and Hildebrand on row number 9. James Jakes and Savida in row 10 I should say. Ryan Briscoe on row 11. He's partnered of course by Simona de Silvestro, Ed Carpenter and Lucas Lure. And then we've got James Davidson rounding up the final spot on row 13. And interestingly enough, we don't have that many cars starting on the primary tyre. We've got a Christian Valtier who starts on the primary tyre. He's the first of the runners to start there. A pole sitter all the way down to row number 7 are starting on the alternate tyres. Tristan is the first man on that one. We've got Vizo on the alternates. Tony Kanan is also on the primary tyres. We've also got Savdra on the primary tyres as well. Followed, of course, by Lucas Law. So Lucas Law, the second rookie. So rookies seeming at the moment to favour the primary tyres instead of the alternate, which the majority of the field are running as they'll start their way. And of course that race gets underway in just about an hour and 15 minutes. So be sure to not go anywhere or get yourself some food, sit down and catch the end of the virtual GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma, which is still being headed up by Grivy at the very forefront of the field. But this race again, very unpredictable. Overtaking can be difficult. We've seen it here today. And in Asa O'Collar's words, that when you get to within a second of another car, it feels like you lose so much downforce. As Sean 24 pulls into the pit lane, there's not a lot you can do. You're just hoping that the car in front of you makes a mistake and you can barely pull alongside. The trouble is that the overtaking spots are so tight or so narrow, or they double back you into the next corner, meaning that you're going to be on the outside, and that the person you're overtaking always has an advantage of coming back at you the next corner, which is what makes this circuit so special. So, and of course, if this is anything to go by, we've had every winner tonight in Simraceway won from pole position. Looks like that trend could continue. Grivy started from pole. He's got a lap over 4th place, a lap over 3rd place, and he's got himself 57 seconds over Agsvarti in 2nd. Is the trend going to continue into the proper or the real-life GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma? If it does, it means Scotsman Dario Franchitti would take his 32nd career victory. So very key start there for Dario, and of course he's already matched the 6th all-time record of pole positions this race. So Dario really stamping his mark again here. Of course, the multiple Indy 500 winner, multiple series champion. We know what he's capable of. Let's see what he can do today here around Sonoma. So Grivy, as we said, he's still yet to pit for his second stop today. He's 58 seconds, and we're over halfway into this race now. So 56 minutes in, and Grivy pulls into the pit lane then to make his second stop. Now this will give Agsvarti a chunk of time, but of course Agsvarti still needs to stop as well. 27 seconds clear of Strogafia at the moment. So he's still got plenty to work for there. So unfortunately no real battles going on at the moment as Grivy pulls in, Palotto pulls out, so Palotto able to get that lap back just a little bit longer. We're not too sure how long he's going to be able to hold on, however. And another factor which the real-life Indy drivers are going to have to deal with, of course, is that just the actual climate. Of course, it's hot over there. You've got the sand instead of grass, meaning if the sand goes onto the racetrack, it brushes onto the tarmac and it blows across the racetrack, then we're going to see a very slippery road course, which already, you know, it's a great demanding circuit. We've established this right at the start of the broadcast as to how much it takes to get a perfect setup here today, and really how much of a crucial factor it is. But if that dirt starts burning across the track, if cars start running wide, blowing the dirt across those Bridgestone tyres, or Firestone tyres, I beg your pardon, have no real impact there, and they just blow right back across, then it's going to get slippery. Now, what happens when you take a slippery circuit and a demanding circuit? It makes a hell of a challenge for the drivers. It means they're going to be giving their all to barely keep the car on the circuit, let alone try and actually make a decent pass for position. With the field as large as the IndyCar field as well, it's definitely going to be a race to remember. As we say, don't forget you can catch that live here very shortly, in just about an hour and 10 minutes time. So Grivy still finds himself with a massive lead. Shadow Bounty's received a penalty. I believe that could be for edging out on corners, and that may get revoked soon. Yes, it has, and he's gone wide there to let Piloto Pazzo through. Grivy's gone wide. Now that is very uncharacteristic. Grivy went very wide there, and Red Line Racers come back through. Now he's a minute in front of Exile. Look at that, he's wiggling around. I think he's desperately trying to get heat into those tyres. I wonder if that was something to do with the dirt on the circuit. Grivy slips underneath very nicely. But that 48 out of 65, but almost an hour in now. Well, 48 out of 85, I beg your pardon, and it's still Grivy that has a firm hold of this race so far. Majority of the cars still trying to fight one another on the circuit. It's been pretty much your traditional, almost endurance-like event. It's driving your own race. There is no such thing really now as racing other people. For the majority of these drivers, they need to get themselves back on focus, get themselves to the end of this race now. It's a very difficult task to do. So Grevy from Anxiety in P2, as we say. Now the gap is 1 minute and 1 second. 25 back to Strogafio. He's still a factor in this race if he can catch Anxiety. He's just about a pit stop out of reach. And again, Shadow Bounty getting a little bit of a warning there for cutting, but Strogafio just outside of pit stop's reach. So as we hit the 1 hour mark, we're going to take a very short break, and I'll be right back with you to call the second half of this race. So welcome back then to the Sonoma GP. It's been such a good event so far, and you can already see what effect it's had on the drivers at the moment. There's everyone struggling to try and get a grip out there now. Grivy's already, as we say, a lap up when everyone else, Anxiety, still the only man to not get lapped. He's a minute behind at the moment, so he's still clinging on by the skin of his teeth. We've got Strogafia P3, we've got ourselves in P4, Sean 24, Piloto still 5th, looking to bring home a big top 5 there. 6th place Shadow Bounty, 7th Jamu, 8th Redline, 9th and out of the race are Acer Acola, Bandito, 11th Crazy Buzzy, 12th Agio 6th, and 13th Tavario. So good afternoon, and well, don't know what else to say, really just good afternoon, and hope you're enjoying such a fantastic race here today. So it's from myself overseas there in England to everyone else watching in America. It's been a very interesting event so far. As we said, we've seen 3 very good support races here today, starting with the B, who went over to the Evos, who really took Sonoma by storm. Great first race there. We went back then to the Formula 3s, which made their debut and got the track all heated up nice and warm for these Indy cars to make their statement here at Sonoma. If you're watching at the circuit, I'm sure you'll be enjoying much nicer weather and much nicer views than we are right now over here in the UK. But it's been a great start by the drivers who are all over the world situated here today, racing for a very important prize. Of course, it's not just bragging rights when it comes to a Sunday race-off. Many of you watching this may be thinking it's just a casual 85-lap race. It doesn't count for anything. It doesn't mean anything or anything like that. But honestly, there is 100% wrong. There is so much more on the line here than just bragging rights or I did better than you, that kind of thing. We've got prize money at stake, which means that every position is absolutely vital. So the winner of this race will get $41, second place gets 32, third place 25, fourth place 20, and so on and so forth all the way down. So 11th place gets $9, and so on and so forth. So still a lot of money to be contested there, and Grivy right now going on the hunt to take home P1. And unless there's some sort of unforeseeable error like we saw with, well, our main competitor Ace O'Collar earlier on, it's going to be looking like Grivy is in a fantastic position to take that. The odds on him taking a win are so small right now because you know that he's in such a good and such a trusted position, a very consistent driver, and the first time him and Ace O'Collar raced together, we know how competitive those guys can get, and it was a remarkable sight to be beheld. It was literally a war out on the circuit. It was two gladiators inside an arena, and I'm sure we're going to see much of the same in the near future. But for today, there's only one gladiator left standing, and that is Grivy, due to unforeseen circumstances. The only question is then, who's going to be the man who's going to be standing on top at the end of the race? Is it going to be Grivy? Is it going to be Anxiety? We never know what's going to happen. We've still got ourselves around 32 more laps here, so anything can happen. Strogafia is still third, as we said. The order has not really changed, unfortunately, so the drivers still trying to drive their own race right now and catch up to the cars in front. Strogafia and Sean are going to be the drivers who are nearest together, I'd say. But Rotapazzo, who's 14 seconds back on Sean, so let's see your lap times then. Sean at 1:15.5. Let's see what Pilotta can do. He's only 14 seconds away, so he needs to be at 1:15.5. What can the Italian do? He crosses the line and does a 1:15. So that's going to be an interesting fight. We've still got 33 laps left, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a very interesting battle and a little bit of a run to the end now. The final stint of the race is about to get underway. Everyone knows what's at stake here as well. It is such a prestigious event to win. So Pilotta is gaining on him, I think. Let's take a look what the gap is next time round. But Sean 24, 47 seconds away from Strogafia. So his nearest real on-track battle is going to be with Pilotta, who's still arguably, 13.4. So he's gained a second. Pilotta is reading him in. Lap 52 out of the 85, and he is getting closer. Slowly but surely reading him in. Baby steps, they say, is going to be the key here. But I think Pilotta Pazzo could be on a charge for fourth place here. Last that time around for Sean at 1:17.0, 1:15.4 from Pilotta Pazzo. He's flying right now, 13.3 seconds back. I think Pilotta Pazzo could very much so be in the heart of the battle anytime soon. So Pilotta still 13.3 back at the moment. We've got Shadowed Bounty in the pit lane. And out of the way, well, on the way out of the pit lane, there comes Redline Racer. He's going to feed into traffic. As behind him, they're just going through turn number one now. It's going to be, well, it's Grivy. He's not too far away at all. He's chasing Shadow Bounty. He will then get himself past as well. So 3 cars who are on his trail. But let's try and keep an eye on the Sean and Pilotta duel that's going on. I think they may have lost time there. 1:15.3 that time for Pilotta, but 13.7 seconds overall. It's still time to find it. There's plenty of time. So just taking a look at the gap now, back in Pilotta, not in the pit lane yet. Sean, not a 1:15.6 there from Sean, so Sean's pace has increased. Is Pilotta's going to respond? No, he's nowhere near 1:15.9. He's lost 3/10. The gap back up to 14 seconds now, unfortunately. Jamie, unfortunately, struggling as well in P6, so that down, 3 laps down on our race leader. Grivy on lap 57 now, led it to pit again. I wonder if the reasoning for Grivy's immediate pace is that he needs so many pit stops. He's got the light illuminated again. Let's see if he does actually pull into the pit lane or no. And the cars are starting to get a little bit closer together now. We're seeing a lot more crap out. Just take a look and ride on board then with our race leader Grivy as he comes down the main straight through turn 1. Let's go for an onboard lap then, just like we saw in qualifying, and ride the apex nicely, catching Sean 24, used P4, about to put another lap on Sean, so that'll make him 2 laps down then, level with Rotapazzo, of course. This is going to be quite interesting. Let's see if he can get past trouble-free. Sean's not really going to want to move out of the way, judging by the fact that he's only 14 seconds on in front of Rotapazzo, so still plenty of time at the moment as Sean 24 is getting reeled in for sure, and Grivy wants that now, and Sean has to go wide, and it unfortunately for Sean means he is going to lose some time. But into the right-hander then as they came through the carousel. Grivy, look at that, nice and gentle on the apex. That's where Ace Ricola was attacking the corner. He would be relentless through there, and Grivy takes in a much more conservative approach. You can't blame him. Lap 58 out of 85. It will be traumatic to lose the car now. So through the right hand and nice and fast through there, accelerating through the gears up to 6, barely before lifting down. A little bit of a bump over the apex there. Now you want to get as close to this inside wall as possible, gently kissing it. Doesn't want to risk too much though, and he crosses the line to set a 1:13.4. So that is a lap on board there with your race leader, a 1:16.8 from Sean, and let's see what effect this is going to have, because of course Sean had to move out of the way. And a 1:15.6, about a second quicker, so the gap down to 12.1 seconds now. So Pilotta makes his way through safely. Now it's going to be very crucial to Sean's race if he's got that pit button lit that he jumps Pilotta back, so he cannot mess up this pit stop. He needs to really try and get himself as far in front as he can before making it, because right now this is too dangerous. If he feeds out into traffic, this could be awful for his race and for his racecraft overall. He needs to get himself a safe gap in front ideally. So the race currently sat then on lap number 60 of 85, 25 laps left here at Sonoma Raceway. It's Grivy who leads. He's led from pole. He's looking to continue that trend of every winner who's won here today having started from first place on the grid. Will that continue into real IndyCar? Who knows, wait and see. The Scotsman Dario Franchitti will be lining up to start the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma in just over, or just under now, an hour's time. So you don't want to miss that. If you're at Sonoma, I'm sure you're going to have the best seats in the house and the best sounds in the house as well. So be sure to enjoy yourself over there. But for now, let's just enjoy the final stint here at Sonoma for Grivy. He's currently still only 1 minute 5 in front of IZOD. Now that did go up and down a little bit, but IZOD's hanging on. Now I'm intrigued to look at the pace difference in a minute, so we'll see what sort of pace this next lap's going to be from Grivy as he comes around the final corner and then get ready to kick back out again onto the main straight. Because I believe That anxiety's holding on very nicely right now. I think this could be the start of a change. It's a 112.6, and from anxiety a 113.2 that time. So it's not that bad at all. Those drivers still relatively close together, but interestingly enough, I think Grivy is almost lapping anxiety. He is, and this is going to get where dominance gets a. Well, I think if you look up the definition of dominance in the dictionary, it's going to be literally a sentence saying Grivy Sonoma week 39 Sunday race off, because he has lapped every single car in this field, and he's about to put a lap on Agvad. He's about 6 seconds back at the moment, but this is going to be absolutely crucial. So Grivy coming towards the end, and I'll tell you what, if he can put a lap on every single driver, it's not something many drivers, even when it comes to real motorsport, can say they do. You don't really see Sebastian Vettel lapping the likes of Fernando Alonso every week in, week out, do you? Grivy right now, I think IZOD Collins put it right, is a beast. He's excelled into a class of his own right now, and I'm really, really excited for the following Sunday race-offs, when perhaps we're going to see a Goliath war in our hands. Now IZOD Collins has met his match. We're going to see a Goliath battle week in, week out, no matter what the car is, no matter what the track is, whether it's a go-kart, if it's a Formula 3, an Indy car, if you get them in a prototype. We just don't know, but I'm really excited for what the future holds for Grivy right now. He hasn't got many laps left, about 22 and a half. So about half an hour's left worth of motorsport until we get the full IndyCar race underway a little bit later on. Again, that will be the full 85 laps there as well, and you won't want to miss that. The drivers who've just been out there at the moment, entering for the warm-up session, but I think one thing has been for sure, and that is demanding laps. It's a very hot circuit as well. And I think Grivy, if Team Penske had themselves a little sim racing team, Grivy may be higher, because the last 4 times out of the past 5 races that Team Penske has travelled to Sonoma Raceway, there have been 7 different races in the last 8. So I tell you what, Team Penske have won 4 of the past 5 at Sonoma, 3 of them being in a row by the same driver. I reckon they've got themselves a good chance here today, and if they ever made the leap going over into virtual or esports as it's so called, I reckon Grivy may be with a shout there. He's got himself a nice little spot. He's performing now, of course, maybe unwillingly, to the crowd at Sonoma, the guys who are watching in those booths right now, getting ready for the IndyCar race later on, and see maybe a sign of things to come, because if you can see yourself a drive like this when it comes to the real IndyCar race, it's going to be a very dominant victory and something we haven't seen for a very long time, as Anxiety still is not a lap down. He's not going down without a fight. I don't think he's going to be able to last 21 more laps, but I think he'll try it. So Stragafia electing to pit in there. Now let's take a look at the gap. Oh, that's come down again. Pilotta and Sean down to 11.11 seconds now. So those guys getting much closer than, again, we first anticipated, I think. Pilotta's been there, then he leaves again, then he's been there, and then he leaves again. It's been back and forth, but now he's really starting to up the ante and pick up the pace. He's getting the fire, he's getting the motivation. The ball is rolling, 11.009 now. One of the fastest laps Pilotta's done a race there into the low 114s. So we're not used to seeing for him now. Once that motivation ball gets rolling, you get the fire inside you, the adrenaline kicks in, and it just happens over and over and over again. It's like a game of the NFL, and a team just goes first down, over and over again, and you can just feel it. The other team don't know what to do, they don't know how to react. Anything they try, they don't want to overdrive themselves, and that is what Sean 24 might end up doing. 10.7 now, it's going down again. Pilotta Pazzo is in the driving seat of this race in the final 20 odd laps here at Sonoma. Can he get himself into P4 though? 10.6 seconds now. It's coming down again. Sean 24 is under a lot of pressure right now. Let's just see if it keeps on falling though, because right now, I don't think it's going to be enough. Catching is one thing, passing is another, as the words are so famously spoken, and it echoes around all forms of motorsport, from go-karts to NASCAR to IndyCar, all the way to Formula One. And I think especially at this track with this car and this humidity and this climate, it's going to be very much the case. Through the chicane he comes, and you've got to wonder, the gap's gone back up again. Piloto Pazzo is starting to lose time right now. Maybe Sean 24's got it in the bank. Let's see what the lap time is. A 1:14.8 to beat. To be start taking time back out of him again. No, he's not close enough. It's a 1:15.1. So the first time that Piloto's dipped below a 1:15 in quite some time. He had that ball rolling, and unfortunately the ball's come to a sudden stop. But under 20 laps to go now for Grivy. He's just driving the wheels off of this thing. I've never seen such dedication before. It has just been literally incredible. Anxiety's somehow gaining on him though. He's 1 minute 10 behind now. With 8 drivers remaining as well. 20 laps to go until we conclude and we get ourselves a winner before the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma. A bit on the grass there for Grimmy, a little bit wobbly there. Sean 24 in the pit lane. Pilota's not. This is going to be crucial. He needs to come out with no traffic. Pilota is going to be able to take that position without a shadow of a doubt. And now he said that Sean should, I think Sean should have pitted in earlier. Sean was 12 seconds, he's now out to 9. So Pilota needs the lap of a lifetime now. 1:14.8 is good. But he might need to pit again soon. Where's Sean going to come out? There's a car making its way in towards the final few corners. I'm assuming that's where Sean's going to come out. He gets that new set of tyres on. Oh no, and there's a pack of 3. He needs to get off the jacks quickly. This could potentially ruin his race. No, he should be able to get out just in front. Yeah, very short pit exit there. Very long entrance, very short exit. It's going to be close, in fact. Now he's got the job done nice and easy there, so he does not lose any ground to Redline Racer, who finds himself down in P8. Jamie 1 pits in from 7th. Let's take a look then at what Anxiety's doing. He's fighting now with Strogafia. Oh, and a bit of contact. He's a lap down. That shouldn't have happened. Piloto Pazzo. Let's see what his lap's going to be then. He's going through the final corner now. He doesn't pit in. Very wise choice. The car's getting lighter. Obviously feeling a lot more confident in his own ability. Needs himself a good time here though. That's a 1:14.7. It's quicker than last time. Pilota needs to keep that pace up though. He needs to find 10 seconds from somewhere. Sean 24 is not in traffic either. And don't forget, if you've missed any of the action here tonight, it will be available in the archive or on YouTube within the following few days. And a massive thank you to our cameraman Carlos as well, or better known on the Simraceway forums as No Fear C, for doing an excellent job here at making these cameras look absolutely spectacular. So Grivy crosses the line at a 1:13.4, so a slow lap there for Grivy. Anxiety in the pit lane, who has now gone a lap down to its official. Our race leader Grivy has lapped every single car in the entire field. That in itself deserves a round of applause from every single person. That just was phenomenal. It's not every day you see something like that, but Grivy has just been masterful. There's no other word for it. He's been putting on a masterclass of how to drive the IndyCar. And I think this has to be one of his most defining performances as a sim racer. And now look at this then, so a lap down, 1 hour 25 minutes in. And we approach lap number 70 of the 85. Agvarti goes wide, he's going to spin? No, he doesn't. Very sensible there, using the runoff area. We've seen a few cars lose it on the exit of the carousel as he wiggles drastically to get heat back into those tyres. We saw one in qualifying, we've seen a few in the race, and I think that it's not going to stop soon. It's actually a tricky corner to get right. We've seen it in real life as well. Drivers struggle to get the tyres up to temperature and going through a corner where you're decelerating but still accelerating. You're going down through the gears but trying to get back on the throttle as early as you can. It can get very exciting, very intense, and the slightest lapse of concentration can see you really go flying. Grivy has started his 70th lap, so meaning he will have 16 to go until he could potentially be crowned the winner here. There's still a lot to be played out. The gap, oh, and this has been interesting. I think Pilota's been in the pit lane. Pilota, or unless he's made a mistake, Pilota is 0.7 away from Sean when he's in front. Now if he's pitted, this has worked out absolutely perfect. If he hasn't, he's going to have the fight of his life to get 4th position off Sean. He's currently 0.8 in front. It could have played out very nicely for him. Pilota taking a much wider line there as well. Now, what we've seen all race long here is how Pilota can attack. We've seen his offensive playbook. We've seen what kind of moves he can produce. We've seen his pace. Now let's throw that out of the window. Let's hand over to our defensive coordinator, as Pilota Pazzo is now going to really switch it up. He's got to be very careful now. Sean 24 is on the assault. He's gaining. Pilota's making errors, and he cannot be making many of them because we've got a long way, well, a very little way to go. We've got just over 12 laps or so. And now Pilota Pazzo is starting to get a little bit edgy. He's going to be on the edge of his seats right now, trying to defend the best he possibly can. But is this going to be enough? Who knows? Across the line, starting up a lap. He was faster at 1:15.6, and oh yeah, definitely Sean was faster. Pilota with those tiny errors which all add up, and you end up losing huge amounts of time. So Sean is gaining, in fact. The gap is now just as small as 0.8 seconds, so it's definitely coming in. So time has almost come upon us to crown a winner. Grivy 2 laps in front, and Jamie's received a penalty. I'm assuming that's going to be for cutting, and I'm guessing it may get revoked. So it's still Sean who's chasing Pilota at the moment, so the tables have turned. Only it's Pilota who's 1.2 seconds in front at the moment. He's done such a grand job at this stage. If he doesn't have to pit again, I believe he may do though. I mean, they've got themselves, well, another 15 laps arguably. About 13 till the end of the race as Grivy starts, well, he's about to start I should say. Lap number 74 next time around. So Grivy's got a lap on the entire field. Let's go through the order then, as Grivy is about to come to the midpoint of his lap. We've got Grivy in first, Akvati still second, who's been a little bit more quiet after this moment earlier on. Still P2, Strogafia third, Pilota Pazzo P4, fifth place there for Sean 24. Sixth is Shadow Bounty, seventh Jamie 1, and our last remaining runner is Redline Racer. The following runners are out of the order: Ace Ricola, Bandito, Crazy Buzzy, AGO6 and Severio, with Mr. Jones 83 being the last one. So 8 runners remaining here with just over a few moments to go. So lap number 74 started out of 85, so 12 laps remaining until we crown ourselves a winner. He just keeps on pushing right now, as does Pilota though. He's got the gap up to 1.5. He's actually only 1.9 behind Strogafia. Now that is quite... I know, it's 1 minute 9. That is why. I was going to say I had a little glitch on my timing screens there for a moment. And Sonoma has proved yet again to be such an attractive venue for spectators and drivers alike. It's no wonder why we see so many fantastic winners taking the checkered flag here. I'm going to see another one today in the IndyCar race. That's yet to be seen, but for now, it looks like we're going to see a very well-deserving victor at the end of this race. So lap 73 for some people. For some, it's lap number 76 as Grivy's about to start. 10 to go here at Sonoma. And Grivy has driven such a splendid race so far. He will deserve all the credit he gets. Agvati second, third Stroggy at the moment. The Piloto still in front of Sean. Not by much as they get their way past Stroggator, in fact. Now that's quite worrying there. It's well, Shadow Bounty pulls into the pit lane. If Piloto has to pit in, he's going to lose that position. I think that's as clear as the Highland Spring water or the energy drinks the drivers will drink during the race. It's Piloto Pazzo has got himself very lucrative task on his hands right now. He needs to get himself as far in front as he can. If he does have to pit again within the next 10 laps, he could very well lose his position. He needs to try and keep on top of this. He's only 1.5 seconds away, and this means it's so hard to pull away because of the draft, but it's so hard to catch for Sean 24 because of also the draft. It's going to make this a very difficult task for both drivers right now. So I tell you what, this is not helping Piloto Pazzo at all. If you take a ride on board with him, they need to pass Strogafia. Strogafia is a lap in front. They've just had to let him go. Sean 24 is now under a second, and look how close he got through there. That's the closest he's been all race long. If Piloto doesn't have to stop, this is going to be a very intense finish I can assure you that much. So through turn number 1 they come, and look at Pilotta taking a much more defensive line. Bit of a lock up there as the tyre comes to a sudden halt. And Sean is gaining. Let's take back on our leader though, as Remy's about to start lap number 78 out of the 85. It's been such a grueling task for him today. Sean is gaining though, he wants that position. Oh, and he's almost touched the grass there. And he was literally in a flick of an instant. That could have been such a more disastrous move. Now they've got to be so careful as Sean 24 is starting to make a little bit of progress now on them. Oh, and Sean went a bit on. Don't know how he got that car straightened up. I thought he was lost the back end completely there. Well, the session is starting to come to a close. Bernard Racer again with the penalty, but still very much in this race. He's clear at the moment. Our last remaining runner, of course. So the main battle on circuit is Sean and Pilotta. The rest of the drivers separated by, 50, 60 seconds at least. So let's keep an eye then on what Sean 24 is doing. I think again he's lost a bit of time. The gap's still under a second as they went through the first sector though. So he's looking at the moment like it's got to be the man in charge who's got to Pato. He's in control of this battle now. We don't know if he's got to stop again. This is the big question on everyone's lips. Does he have to stop? He's left it very late if he does. It's going to say it's going to be very close if he doesn't. Potentially we're going to see a very big race to the end now as Griffey is about to start his 80th lap out of the 85 here today. You can always hear the amount of pressure, the amount of tension. You can almost cut the tension with a knife right now because Pilotta is coming under a lot of pressure. There is so much at stake here. We're on lap 77 out of the 85. And Sean 24 is doing absolutely everything he can right now to get himself within contention of getting that third position. I don't think he's got enough. Oh, he's getting so close through there, but again, the move is going to be, unfortunately, incomplete. Through the quick chicanes they go, and now Sean is doing himself a nice run. We've already seen a bit of a bump through there earlier in the Formula 3 race. Let's hope we don't see another one. I think the last one was eventful enough as it was. Well, I think that's evolving. Now it's Key and Sean again getting closer through there. I think it's obvious who the faster of the two cars is going to be by the end of this lap. 1:14.8 to 1:14.9. Surprisingly, it was Pilotta that time. And look how steep the hill climb is as well. Sean is doing everything he can right now as Griffey is into his final 10 laps. Sean's still trying to gain. He's trying to look for any advantage he can. He's even gone in wider to the carousel to cut in tighter and come out. Very risky. That's why we've been seeing quite a few incidents through there today. Drivers mid-race going out of their comfort zones, trying to get these bigger, these more advantage paying off lines going to swoop inwards, to cut the apex nice and early. Whereas the ideal line would be to cut it mid-corner, but a lot of drivers swooping out then deeping back in. Now just look at what Sean has to offer as well, though. He's trying everything he can. They start. That number 79, of course, then 2 laps down on Grivy. Pilotta doesn't have long to hold on, and my heart's telling me he doesn't have to stop. My mind's telling me he does. And it's going to really break a lot of fans' hearts if he does today, because this could be the biggest upset in this race if he can just hold on a bit longer. And look at Sean again. He is getting closer. He's trying to throw those body punches I was referring to earlier on, but we try and take a ride on board with him and just look at trying what he's experiencing at the moment. It is a very difficult task indeed. And you've got to feel that within the final few laps of this race, a 1-lap advantage is going to do it. Grivy has been such a deserved winner today. He's about to start lap 83 of 85. There we go then. So 3 laps to go for Grivy. And what an 83 laps he's had so far. He's battled tooth and nail with Asa Acola. It came down to strategy. The qualifying battle was absolutely intense. But unfortunately, for unforeseen circumstances, and Asa Acola getting a blue screen of death, it did mean that Grivy was left alone up front, 40 seconds clear of anxiety. Since then, however, he's not just, let off the throttle and tried to ease home. That would be the sensible thing to do. Grivy, what he's done here is go through every driver. He's gone from 8th place to 2nd and lapped them. So Grivy has lapped every single runner in this field. And I'm sure he's going to be on top of the moon right now. He's about to start his penultimate lap very shortly. Pilotta and Sean, I believe the battle is still the same as we chatted last time. In fact, Sean's a bit further away as they come towards the end of their lap. Grivy starts at number 84 of 85 then. It's been a very intense afternoon as well. 1 lap down is Anxiety. 1 lap down is Strogafia. 2 laps for Pilotta. 5 laps for Jamie. 7 for Redline. And Asa Acola, 53 down. But I think Pilotta's going to hold on, in all honesty. I don't think he has to stop again. I think he played the pit stop perfectly. And he won't have to stop. I think he's genuinely got this. Anxiety receiving a stop and go. No, that is crucial. That is crucial. He's only 34 seconds in front. I don't even think that's going to be enough. If that is standing and that doesn't get revoked, we'll have to wait and see, because if that does stand and he does have to pit, this could change the race. He's gone off again. Anxiety's losing time. He's skipped the chicane combats completely. Anxiety, this could... Oh no, the penalty has been revoked, but he's all over the place. As Grivy's on his final lap, let's just watch the final lap on board with the master at work. He started on pole. Every single driver tonight who's won here at Sonoma has won from pole position. Grivy is going to be no exception. In the dying moments, a checkered flag had flown. Grivy crossed the line after the session ended and took pole position from the clutches of one of the greatest Simraceway Sunday race-off drivers that we have ever had. Grivy is now the new challenger on the horizon. He got himself in the lead. He was holding off Asa all afternoon. A great strategy. And now Grivy is going to find himself potentially the winner of a Sunday race-off. So here we are then. A total of 1,020 corners. 195.5 miles later, and it comes to this. Through the final corner comes Grivy. Nearly 200 miles, nearly 2 hours, and Grivy is the winner here at the Sunday race-off. He spins, he hasn't crossed the line just yet. There he goes. Backwards is the way to do it, and you cannot blame him. A tremendous job there by Grivy. He'll be hailed by all. Absolutely spectacular result there. Second for Anxiety. And he's going to come across the line. A very good result indeed for Anxiety. He's had a very quiet race, but he's going to come across in a very gallant second position.
This is the final lap. Keep it going.
Third place will be Strogafia. Fourth for Pilota Pazzo. Fifth will be Sean 24. Fifth will be, sixth Shadow Bounty. So now we've got to watch out for this Pilota. I still think Pilota has to pit, in all honesty. As he comes up towards the finale now, and does he go? No, he doesn't. So Pilota's going to finish in front then of... He does it, he beat Sean 24. And look at that, Grivy is celebrating right now. Just keep an eye on what Grivy's doing because... Oh, he's got back to the pit lane now, but he very much so deserved that. A few guys on their final laps. Just waiting for the rest of the drivers to cross the start-finish line, and then we can reflect on just what an incredible event it's been and what a dominant victory that Grivy showed, and how much of a signal, how much of a warning sign that's going to be in future races. Grivy has shown great potential here today, and I'm sure he'll be back for more. $41 go to him, 32 go to the man in second, Anxiety. Strogafia picks up a healthy sum as well. And Pilota is going to finish in front of Sean, of course. And that is going to just about do it from us here at Simraceway. So thank you so much to every single one of you for watching, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you're in the bedroom, or whether, if you're lucky enough to be at Sonoma right now for the IndyCar event. We hope you have a fantastic evening. We hope you enjoy the IndyCar event from Sonoma. If you're there, please say hello to the drivers for us and make sure you have a whale of a time. The question is, can Dario Franchitti top off a very successful qualifying session with a race victory? Only time will tell. That race gets underway very, very shortly. Thank you so much for watching, guys. My name is Liam Jenkins. If you want to get in touch or just chat about the race in general, my Twitter is at LiamJSimRacing. And I will see you next time for another Simraceway Sunday Race-Off. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.